Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku podcast for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. I am Bashi V, and joining me today is
Right. Welcome to episode 35. Feels
where
later than that.
it does, but it doesn't. And also on a side note, welcome to episode 35 of this podcast that we've done in a row. I did not almost uh, say revise.
Have you been almost
I,
saying Revice?
I almost said revise this time.
I didn't even catch that this time. Uh, so, Kaito has noticed that his friends have been distracted lately. Like, they're not behaving like their normal selves, and they've gotten sloppier than normal in their work.
I mean, that's one way to say that room's not dusting.
Like Rome missed some spots when he was cleaning, and Gowan has messed up his cooking, and so Kaido goes to talk to the pirates about it. Like, what's going on with them? Do you know anything? And they help Kaido come to the incorrect conclusion of like, well, maybe they're keeping a secret from you, like a surprise party.
And of course, he goes to the pirates, the people they don't hang out with, instead of, asking the two people who are constantly home.
I mean, yeah, he has to talk to someone. Maybe the others didn't know what was up either.
That's fair.
Excuse me. Meanwhile, the Kikainoids have been trying to work up the courage to tell Kaito the truth about his father, and their odd behavior has been them unable to bring themselves to do it.
Like, the rationale on it makes perfect sense, too.
Right, like as far as they know, like Kaito's father wasn't kidnapped by Toji Tendo, he ran away to join them.
Right.
How do you tell him that? And then Diamond World appears. His specialty is making things hard as a diamond, both literally and metaphorically. Food, hard as a diamond. Proposing to your fiance, hard as a diamond.
Like everything about this makes sense, but at the same time, is like, not only did it make easy things hard, it made difficult things hard too. Because
Telling Kaito the truth, hard as a
hard as fuck.
diamond. In fact, they can't tell Kaito anything. All they can say is diamond.
And now we've just summed up 90% of this episode.
Yeah, that's pretty much all the dialogue. Is them only being able to say diamond and everyone else going, I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
Like, and it goes so far into they can't even write anything, nor can they play charades.
Yeah, so Kaiser shows up to protect Diamond World as per his job, and the others can't bring themselves to fight him knowing who he is. They get hit with the diamond ray so they can't talk, and then Kaito shows up, and because they can't tell Kaito to stop, all they can do is try to forcefully get in the way and stop him from fighting Kaiser. But Kaito doesn't know what this means.
And jump to the wrong conclusion.
Right. Back at Colorful, they try having them like, alright, if you can't talk, write it down. All they can write is diamond, or draw pictures of diamonds. Alright, maybe charades, act it out, like, diamond. They can't communicate anything other than diamond. But Kaido comes to, once again, to the incorrect conclusion. Maybe Diamond World was forcing them to protect him. Don't worry, guys, I'll save you as soon as possible.
I'll save you as soon as I kick a Kaiser's ass.
I mean, in Kaido's defense, like, literally nothing else to go off of. The idea that, like, oh, they were being forced to protect him, not necessarily a bad guess.
No, it wasn't. I've seen worse guesses get made.
Hmm. Anything else on the charade stuff, or.
Um, just Zox turning around and going, "I don't care if you're being controlled or not. Get in my way. I'm gonna kick your ass."
Uh,
Which is like the most antagonist we've seen him since he showed up.
he hasn't enough time for this shit. He needs to defeat the world so that Toji Tendo pumps out the next one.
So get his brothers back and then go
Right.
also find Kaito's mom, something that they've completely been ignoring.
I mean, Kaido's mom isn't his true goal. He's just helping Kaito out with that.
Right. But like I have realized thanks to King talking with King about it, just like how much
It,
that
it,
has 100% slipped to we're
it,
just not going to talk about
it's
it.
been pushed to the side because they're focusing on the other half. Besides, how many times do you want them to turn to the camera and say no progress?
At least once a month.
So, Stacy has finally found his conviction and understood Kaito's lesson. So he approaches Kaiser and asks him to team up. And Kaiser's response? uh, you really had
Oh
to
shit.
ask? We're on the same side, aren't we? So once again, Stacy approaches Kaito, ready to challenge him. But this time he's not alone. He has Kaiser standing by his side. Together, he can't defeat Kaito on his own, but maybe together they can get him.
Like the best thing about this scene for me, aside from the evil roll call, even if it is only two people, is the fact that Kaito was actually happy for Stacy.
Like, oh, you made a friend.
The wrong kind of friend, but you made a friend. Progress is still progress.
What I liked is when Stacy transforms, Kaiser pays attention to it. Like he specifically is looking at Stacy, like shooting himself in the arm.
Right, yeah, like he's fully watching, like Kaiser is invested.
Uh, so more on all that later. Let's talk about what's happening with Zox. Because Kaiser is busy dealing with Kaito, Diamond World is left vulnerable. So Zox goes to deal with him.
Deal with him, he does.
And Diamond World isn't a fighter, so he attempts to run away by jumping in the river. So, easy enough, Zox uses one of his Sentai gears, Juwo the World, and gets a fishing pole. He'll just fish Diamond World out of the water. Easy enough.
Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I had, or at least saw stills of how this plays out, I would have been fine with how they left it. Like,
But,
if that's just the power, he just gets the power to fish because seriously, how many of them have there been?
right.
But
But,
no, they decided to take it up a notch with this power
uh,
in the greatest way possible.
so, defeating Diamond World is pretty simple after that. Despite being as hard as a diamond, like, diamonds are they're breakable.
Eventually.
Uh, Eventually, though, like after the Kaiser stuff is dealt with, the new Kudai test shows up. So it's giant mech fight time. Where's Zox? So Flint and the others go looking for him, and they find him still near the at the pier, like just curled up in fetal position, just not feeling it anymore.
Yeah. I have always loved this joke.
Which, if you haven't seen Jewel Jewel of the World was a little bipolar and would shift
a,
between. Hmm?
a little is a vast understatement.
He would shift between the excitement of the fight to fetal position. I'm feeling gloomy today.
Like, to the point of this would happen if he got the wrong answer on when asked a question. Like, it was drastically insane. The
And
bet, and to me, this is the second best time this joke has been used. Because to be fair, in the show, it got a little, there for a
right,
little while.
but like the callback was amusing.
The callback is always amusing. The best one is from that one movie
Where he just shows up out of
where he
nowhere.
just shows up and then
What
gets
are
mad that
you
everybody
doing
ignores him.
here?
Don't ask questions. And then ends up in the fetal position because nobody's paying attention to him at the end of the fight because nobody noticed that he ran off.
Uh, so back to the Kaiser Stacy team up. Uh, Fighting 2-on-1 against Kaito, he has his like kaiju mode, so he's got the strength to take him on by himself and hold his own. Especially since Kaiser and Stacy aren't used to fighting together as a team and accidentally trip each other up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, and this is that point I was making. Is like, it's the little things that make this show perfect.
right. The Kaiser going for his big boomerang swing and accidentally knocking Stacy over.
Because, like, if you watch any of these other Sentais where, like, two of the random villains team up, this type of thing doesn't usually happen.
Right, and
Like, it's like they're perfect in sync immediately.
with normal villains, like, oh, one of them knocked the other over, he would have blamed, like, hey, you shouldn't have been in my way. But with a Kaiser, like, no, he's got loyalty. He's like, oh, sorry, are you okay? And
I
helps him
swear I
up.
didn't mean. I swear that wasn't on purpose.
The other Zenkaigers show up to try and stop Kaido from fighting his dad, but Stacy doesn't want his fight interrupted, so he summons some past Reds in their super forms.
That was one thing I'm glad Toei started doing.
What?
Like the true super form battleizer thing.
Oh, yeah.
Though it was weird, I forgot that both the Geki Super Geki Ranger and Go Busters both did the.
Did Geki Red do that?
Yes, he did.
Huh.
It wasn't very often, but yeah.
So, uh, because the others can't tell Kaito not to fight, he thinks that, like, they're begging him to help them. Because that's the only conclusion he's been able to draw. In
Miscommunication at its finest.
Kaiser is running low on power, so he needs to make this quick. So while everyone is tripped up, he goes for the finishing blow against Juran. Kaito's not having it though and grabs his Zenkai gun and jumps in between them, firing full blast into a Kaiser. And it's at this time that Zox defeats Diamond World, allowing the others to speak again, saying things like, "Stop, Kaito, don't shoot." But it's too late. He's already pulled the trigger.
Like, this was a little rough to watch. like the only saving grace for it for me was knowing the fact that Sentai it usually doesn't get super depressing.
Right.
Ju- Rio Soldier was a rarity with that. Some did get super depressing, but it's like here lately it's been more of the upbeat.
Kaiser's dad is able to stand up after the hit, but his battery is worn out and his mask fades away, and everyone can see that it's Kaito's dad. Even Stacy is shocked by this revelation. And this is where we find out that the battery that needed to be recharging wasn't the Kaiser suit.
The
It was
brainwashing.
it was the device on his head controlling him.
Like,
He's
and the only reason that we didn't get it last episode is because Ijirude showed up immediately
right. Something he wasn't able to do this time
for reasons.
for drama reasons. You know how it is.
Yeah, but like the look on Stacy's face, like
Like
when
actual
it was revealed,
disbelief.
was like literally like the fuck Ijirude, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like I could 100% see this being the selling point for him switching sides.
Or maybe not. We'll have to see.
I mean, we only got 10 fucking episodes left.
Isao snaps out of the mind control. And he looks over and he sees the Zenkaiger team and he recognizes the Zenkaiser suit. Wait, Kaito, is that you in there? And they have a father and son reunion. But it's cut short quickly as Stacy grabs Isao and forces him back into Toji Tendo. So close. Kaito is going through a lot of emotions right now, but there's no time to think about them right now when the new Kudai test shows up. They still have a mech fight to do.
Was I the only one who, and I'm jumping to the mech fight, who was expecting more than just what we got for that power up?
Oh yeah, no, I started going through the list in my head. All right, so Patrol. So you've got Power Ranger, obviously, Deca Rangers in there, maybe Go Go 5 actually, and
And
then
wait, I went straight to cops. I did not think of Go Go 5.
I thought of Go Go 5 as like an afterthought, and then it ended up being the only one they used.
Like, when they said, petrol, my brain went
Pat Ranger.
Pat Ranger
You
and
know, Patrol Ranger.
the what the fuck, the Decker Red vehicle.
Oh yeah, because he had a cop car.
Yeah, and it was named Petrol something.
I don't remember.
I remember because the Go Kiters used it. Um, like my brain even went to Time Force before it Go Go 5.
Oh, I didn't think of Time Force at all.
Because my brain went police. Time
T-
Time Force was
Time
time traveling
Ranger.
police.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think of Time Ranger. And like Go-Go 5 was an afterthought for me. So when it ended up being the only one they used, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, pretty much your standard typical
Yeah,
mech.
standard
I
fight.
will
Like,
I will admit it did look cleaner this episode.
oh no, this villain is strong. But wait, he has a weakness. And then they just exploit that weakness and win.
And they just beat the shit out of it.
Yeah, they just kind of go through this one pretty quick because they got a lot of other shit to think about.
Like the sad thing is when it went diamond, my brain went, okay, so they're gonna use the Bokinger for the mech.
Oh,
Because I'm like,
because treasure.
diamond, treasure, pickaxe, mining, diamond. I'm like, everything was there.
Especially since Vroom was the one that spoke up. It's like, oh wait, I read about diamonds.
Like it would have made the perfect sense.
They go back to Colorful and break the news to Yachan that Isao is Hakaiser. The Kikainoids all apologize that they knew about this for a week now and didn't say anything. Uh, Jurand says, but that's just an excuse that, like, oh, they say, like, oh, sorry, we just didn't want to hurt your feelings and we didn't know how to tell you. Jordan says, that's just an excuse, though. We should have told you right away. Look at what happened when we didn't.
Like I give him a lot of credit for manning up.
Yeah, he's the adult of the group. He's the
Right.
mature
And
one.
it's and in this moment it's never been clear.
And the others tell them, like, no, that's not necessary. We understand that you're worried about us. You don't have to apologize like that.
And also now we know he's alive.
And Kaido's just happy that, like, well, it's not the surprise party I thought it was, but it was still a surprise. So I'm happy to know what's been going on with all of you. And even Yachan looks on the bright side, like, hey, he's Hakaiser. That means that he's in good enough condition to fight you all. That's good news.
And it actually is.
Like, he's in great shape.
Yeah. A lot better than most parents in Sentai. Some get turned into rocks. Or I'm sorry, gemstones.
Oh, okay. I was like, who got turned into a
Yeah, it
rock?
took you a second. It
I
took
was
you a
like,
second to reach King, didn't it?
as I was like, wait, who got turned into a rock? And then you said gemstone. I was like, okay, gemstone. Oh, right. Kier Major.
Well, Kira Major and King.
Who?
Yu Ryuger. Because he constantly talks about the gemstone being his dad.
Oh.
Even though it's just a gift from his dad, he just constantly calls it his dad.
I actually forgot about that. When you said king, I thought you meant King Oladin.
Oh no.
Because, you know, he literally turned
Yeah,
into a
that
gemstone, and so did
yeah
his wife.
yeah that one did it intentionally completely fit what I said.
Yeah, that's why I jumped to it.
Oh.
Fit what you said a lot better than what you meant.
Yeah, than the joke I was trying to make.
I was listening to Sentai music in my car earlier. And the Care Major one came on, and, like, man, it just made me so happy to hear it. Like, I'm enjoying Zenkaiger and all, but, like, I really enjoyed Kira Major.
It it was really good. Like, let's ignore the fact that the show gave me what I wanted from as soon as I figured out who somebody was. Like, the show was solid. Like, it wasn't as character based as Lupin Ranger was.
But it still had the character growth.
Right. It's like it wasn't entirely character based, but it was still character based.
Right. It wasn't as character based as Lupin Ranger. It wasn't as lore heavy as Rio Soldier.
It was a good medium between the two.
It's not as wacky as Zenkaiger is, but, like, it was the right balance of all three.
Right. And like as much as I liked the characters in Zenkaiger,
I just really enjoyed the
I
cast of Kira Major.
like if I had to choose between Juru and um,
Kaito?
Kaito, I'd have to go for Juru because at least he's less annoying.
I wouldn't say Kaito's annoying, but Juro went through a lot more character growth. Kaido is almost the same as when he started.
Yeah, he's still sharing the brain cell.
Like, in fact, most of the team are. I was thinking about this earlier. Most of the team in Zenkaiger are the same as when they started. Zox has gotten more character growth than the rest of them combined.
Right, like the closest we got to it is Vroom doesn't ask as many questions.
And he experienced
Like
heartbreak,
who's it?
so he's a
Yeah, and Heartbreak
he's more sympathetic towards emotions.
and Magine is more familiar.
She's gotten a lot of good character growth about being more confident in herself.
Yeah, and being more like familiar with the people she's living with rather than formal.
Gawan, he's done pretty good job of easing off the whole Kikai Noid versus human thing.
Like to me, yes, but it's more because I feel like they touched on it a few times and then just dropped it.
I mean, yeah, if it's not coming up anymore though, then it's not a problem.
Right.
But yeah, like Jurin has the least growth because it's just been shown that he needs it the least because he's already like he's the oldest of the group. He's already kind of been through all of this.
Right. Like for lack of a better term, this is like that elder
He
coming back coming back to join the team.
he's needed to learn to be less hard on the others.
Yeah, actually that is about it. Which is standard for someone in that situation.
But Kaito, like, how has Kaito grown?
He hasn't. He's exactly the same. Like I can't think of any beyond the fact of he's a little less balls to the wall about Toji Tendo. Only because he knows he now knows his mom was safe. Like it curbed a bit of his haste with Toji Tendo, but beyond that, like he's good at that mentoring thing when it came to like Gowan with his, for lack of a better term, racism or speciesism. I don't
His
know.
apathy towards Kikanoids.
Yeah, that'll work. Um, and then like trying to wrangle over him is like he had his good points that were already instilled in his personality that they haven't had to change much. Like the closest we got to development literally involved his mother and father, and a little bit with Stacy.
Stacy is the true main character of this show.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like Stacy's the development.
Like the plot is the same as when it started. The difference is where Stacy is at.
Right. And I'm fine with that. It's much better than being 46 episodes in and the plot's the exact same as when it started. Lupin Ranger.
The difference there, though, is that everyone had phenomenal character growth across the show.
Yeah, they did. Like I cannot think of a Sentai or a writer show that has done it better.
Yeah, no, the character growth in Lupin Ranger, that's the real story there. That's what the show was meant to be. All the like fun action was just a bonus.
Right. It's like, hey, here's a drama. Like to me it went back to like more of that like classic um what you call it, the like early Heisei writer where yeah, the monster stuff happens. It's like, but no, that is secondary to what's going on with the characters. So like early fives. Because let's face it, fives is all about the character.
Right.
Like, and it works fantastically for writers. Like, and it was weird to see it translate to Sentai for Lupin Ranger with how they did it, and it come across as well as it did, given the size of the cast and everything else. Like, it was fantastic. But like the wackiness for this is part of what kills me for Zenkaiger.
I don't mind the wackiness, but like I feel
It
like it is
to
over
me
the
it's
top.
that's the issue. It's like it is 100% over the top.
Not that it's bad, but in terms of the balance I like in a show, Kier Major is a better example of what I would prefer.
And I will absolutely second that. Like, don't get me wrong, I love all the callbacks and especially the funny callbacks, like the Jewel of the World bipolarness is like that to me. That is a fantastic callback, much better than Lucky's.
Oh,
Which the sad thing is, Lucky's callback was accurate too because his luck was just about as absurd.
just
There was
never
just no car.
so Rube Goldberg machine like.
Yeah, and never included cartoon bird.
Uh,
Um, like, and I think the one thing that really throws me off with this is like there's no setup for the villains, like the way a lot of Sentai usually gets like that build up for the monster of the monster going about his thing, it's starting his plan, getting caught, running away, continuing his plan on a grander scale, and then it lacks the hunt and pacing.
yeah, the monsters of the week in this show don't have depth to them.
It's literally just they show up. There's one characteristic: get your ass kicked. Like that's about it. Maybe there's a joke in there. Like
Like in other series, they drove the plot forward. They actively drove the plot forward, I mean. But in this one, it's just
right,
kind of passive. Like with other series, it's like it's because the monsters are doing what they're doing that the teams have to be reactionary to it. Where here, it's more passive. Because the monster exists, they have to react to it.
right, because it's literally that's because they've stumbled upon it. The monsters 9 times out of 10 literally just existing. Like
Sometimes, like whatever the monster is doing isn't even that bad, but they have to stop it anyways.
like making people trick or treat.
Or well, people were going on rampages in that one,
Well,
but like,
yeah.
but like retro world or random milk
See, at least they did a decent job of explaining why the random milk one was bad.
because you need color.
Because you need color. You can't tell traffic lights if there's no color. And various other things. It's like, but like you go back to like Ranger, Mighty Morphin. There were entire episodes dedicated that literally moved along because of what the monsters were doing. Like the one where they had to go find a troll to get some spicy pepper.
Okay, okay. Since you brought that one up,
But you know
the
what I mean,
the
though.
pig episode, like
Specifically,
specifically that one. All right, so compare like you can make the comparisons between Power Rangers and Sentai, and there are plenty of times where I'll point out how like at the Sentai and go, you know what, like Power Rangers was good, but the Sentai did this better, and a lot of those that can be attributed to certain aspects of Ranger, like the Green Ranger plotline. Like I preferred how Sentai did it with the whole he chose to be evil because he was misguided as opposed to being
Right.
possessed. But that one episode with the pig monster undoubtedly goes to Power Rangers in its execution of it.
I will admit, and Power Rangers did that one phenomenal.
Because so in Power Rangers it's like, okay, so Rita is feeling sick, and so like the sight of food disgusts her, so she makes a pig monster to go down and eat all the food, which would actually be a problem for people. Uh, and the Rangers, using their brains, look around and go, "Oh man, he ate everything. Wait, he didn't eat the spicy food. That must be his weakness. Let's trick him into eating something spicy." Jew Ranger. Rita's on a diet and doesn't want to see food to tempt her to eat. Sorry, Bandora. Um, and so she makes the pig monster go down and eat the food, and the Jew Rangers have to go and find the special root that is his weakness, which is like a magic elf has it. And he's like, yeah, you have to beat my challenge though. Here's a buffet, eat it. Uh,
And isn't Boy the only one who does it?
well, they all are eating it together, and then it comes down to like yellow, like it's just like one carrot left, and he's like, "Oh, I hate carrots, but I have to do this," and he eats it, and the elf is like, "Congratulations, you overcame your disgust of carrots. Here you go." Like, what the fuck? What was the
Yeah,
lesson here?
like, and then you get like the Dragon Egg episode, the one with the invisible um troll in the cave that was kidnapping kids.
I don't remember that one.
And
I remember that happening, but I don't remember the details.
I don't remember the details of the Japanese version. All I remember from the American version is the fact that um,
I think.
they kidnapped Kimberly's deaf friend,
Oh yeah, I totally would have guessed like Trini's sister or something if you hadn't gone.
and then they won by tying the troll's shoes together and sneaking everybody out. That it was dumb.
I don't remember how the Sentai version of that played out.
But the Sentai version of that involved them having to protect the chest of dinosaur eggs. And Pandora had stolen it and hid it in the cave along with various things that the troll was stealing. That is all I remember from the Japanese. But like, yeah, like to me, older Sentai had it better at driving the plot by the monsters rather than the monsters being, for lack of a better term, set dressing. Like the monsters being secondary to the plot kind
Right.
of sucks. And even Kira Major was bad with that. Like outside of like the storyline with Yodana, Tarantula, and Garuza, the rest of the monsters were all just kind of
Like
they
with
were just
with those three generals, you got to know them a bit. Like
right,
they had personalities to them and they reacted to the environment around them. But like Barashitara, for example, like he has one reaction, pissed.
right.
And
EJ
Ichirode
Rude
just
talk his way out of shit.
just brush off whatever went wrong and move on to the next project.
Like, and these are the people that we're supposed to think are the big bads. It does. They need nothing about them screams general.
You remember that time Garuza jammed out on a guitar and Tarantula just let him?
Oh god, that was fucking great. I'll tell him later that that's broken.
I don't want to be here when he realizes that he's just playing for himself.
Like, but yeah, it's like characters, like the villains having personalities. I do miss that because like even outside of Barstar showing up to do anything, his entire personality is, "Hey EJ Rude, fuck you. Hey Stacy, yeah, fuck you too. Also, I fucked your mom." Like that's his entire personality, and it doesn't make for a great villain. The only thing good about him is the fact that he has a tank gun on his chest.
And then Bug.
Which to me, and you may or may not get this joke. To me, that just says that Caboose and Sheila are his parents.
Who?
Caboose and Sheila, red versus blue.
Oh no, I haven't seen Red versus Blue.
Caboose is a blue marine who's an idiot who's in love with a tank named Sheila.
And then Bakawas has literally done nothing but complain that things aren't going his way. And like every time a new plan is all presented before him, he just bitches about what a stupid idea it is.
Like even before anything happens with the plan,
Right, like before anything happens, he just bitches like, what is this supposed to fucking do for us?
like I can very much understand why Ijirude and Barishitara had literally just started going, "You just go do whatever. I'll go talk to him when you're done." Like there is no informing him of the plan anymore. They're just trying shit and hoping for the best. To which they've actually literally pointed out that that's what they're doing. Like, don't get me wrong, Zenkaiger is amazing.
It's a great show, but when you stop to think about it, it's got its flaws that stand out when you, especially when you compare it to other shows that did similar concepts.
Like, what truly sells this show to me, and to me is the only way to sell it right for everything to fall into place perfectly with to go, this is an amazing show, is to literally classify it as a parody. Because at least then all of the dumb shit makes sense. Like, and given how, you know, they've done the anniversary thing with it, and given the fact that we need to see a movie when it comes out here shortly, Akiba Ranger is canon. Um, Not Akiba Ranger. Is it Akiba Ranger?
Yeah, Kiba Ranger.
Delusion World.
Hikonen Sentai Kiba Ranger, the
Okay, that's what I
unofficial
thought.
Sentai.
Why did that sound wrong to me? Why did Akiba Ranger sound wrong?
Because what Sentai would be called a Kiba Ranger?
Well, no, like it sounded wrong. Like that was an actual Sentai name. Like in my head, it went. This doesn't sound parody enough. Um,
No. Akiba Ranger is the three otakus that have delusions about being a Sentai.
or otakus.
Four? Well, I'm talking about the core team. Oh, but like, yeah, I guess Blue gets switched out for someone else. But it's only three at a time, so three otakus.
um, but yeah, like it's the only way I can look at this right. Like they just wanted to make an anniversary series for the sake of making an anniversary series and just decided to make a story around the fact
Like I
and forgot to write down half of their notes.
like at the start of the show, I remember complimenting it in the ways that like it breaks tradition, because tradition is a huge theme in quite a few different Sentai.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
having like a concept about breaking tradition was very interesting concept, but like
It got old really quick.
it doesn't really feel like it's breaking any new ground at this point, which to be fair, like it's deep into the show where it should have established its identity by now.
Right. And so far, the identity is
Stacy.
Stacy and the idiots.
Yeah.
Like the closest thing we get to any worthwhile story aside from Stacy is quite literally what the fuck is up with EJ Rude and Kaito's parents? How did that happen? And how will it play out? Like that's it. It's like I could there to me there is no story with anybody else. Everybody else is just a passenger on Stacy's train. Which unfortunately, one way or the other, is probably going to end with him exploding. He is purple.
So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. And we'll see you next week for real this time. We didn't realize there was a break last week.
Yeah, I 100% forgot it was golf week. It was to the point where it's
I
like five o'clock on last week, last Tuesday. I was still looking for the episodes. I'm like, where are they? What the hell? And then I'm like, and then you're like, no episodes this week. I'm like, wait, posted or at all?
at all because uh,
Like
we
the
both
fact
missed that
that
it was golf week.
like the fact that it took that much time for me to realize it, and because I usually figure it out at least by Monday. Because
Well,
typically
yeah, because like
By Sunday, Revice is usually up.
the
Monday is the
yeah, because like
well,
Zenkaiger is usually up on Monday. So if I go to look for it and it's not there, my first instinct is to check like, did the episode air this week?
which I haven't even been bothering to check
And
that.
if the answer is no, then it's like, oh, we were on break. Let me just check the episode dates. Yeah, we were on break. And if the episode did air, then I would wonder, like, oh, why isn't the episode up yet? Hey, Drago.
Hey, Drago, you jumped in early.
I jumped in because I thought you were almost done or something.
Yeah,
We were actually
we're
getting
closing
ready
up.
to wrap up, but since you're here, hey, what's going on?
Not much. I just thought, what is going on in Drink? I just wanted to listen for a while.
Have you been
Um,
listening to our podcast, like literally this one, before you jumped in?
No, I just woke up, so
Okay, so we were actually just talking about some of the things we like about the show, but like some of the problems it has, such as the villains all being one note except for Stacy.
yeah. At least from what I've seen of I think I stopped at around the midway through the two Kaiser and Zenkaiser having the new power up.
okay,
Yeah,
so yeah,
I think that's where.
that was before Kaiser showed up.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Stacy has made some good progress in his character growth lately, but like in terms of villains, he's the only one moving forward.
yeah. It's the I think what do you call it? I think the problem I also have with Zenkai's villains is that I think this is because the money I guess, but like they also have like a very similar designs throughout, and then it feels very uninspired, other than maybe Stacy and Hakaiser.
Yeah, but like, does that excuse Barashitara's only emotion being pissed off?
Yeah, I think that is a similar problem I had in Kyoryuja as well, because where like most of the villain characters only had like one note emotion, even if it was plot, what do you call it? It was tied to the plot.
Kyoryuger, though, like that one was like tied into the plot. Like these generals each represent an emotion, and they are use that to create their monsters. But like here, it's just
Yeah,
you just got like three generic bad guys.
yeah, it is kind of frustrating. The only comedy, it is very, the show overall is very much focused on mostly comedy, but even this is well done. But yeah, in terms of like what the villains are very uninteresting other than Stacy.
Like all Balkawas does is every time a new plan is presented for him, he just bitches about how stupid it is.
So
Yeah, I know. It's been announced.
I'm gonna draw a parallel between Bakwas and one other villain,
Mm.
and you will understand why the other villain is better. Because fundamentally, they're both doing the same thing. They're just sitting around doing nothing while everybody else does shit. You know, he's very much like Donald Marget in that regard
Ah,
of
Don
ah,
Armage.
but at least throughout the show they went out of their way to show that characters had reverence for him, understood his status, understood his power, and on more than one occasion showed us his power in a very, even if it was just a brief moment.
Don
Like,
Armage was a villain you rarely saw, which worked because he's literally commanding an empire. He is Emperor Palpatine. You don't see him because all he's doing is paperwork. You occasionally see him give orders to someone, and that's it. You know he's pulling strings. You don't need to see the details of it.
right, and like half of it was just him sitting at the table going, "What's your plan? Go have fun."
You're conquering what planet? Okay, I just need to know.
yeah, and also the mystique of the villain was pretty much intact when Don Armage was there because other villains took the job of making him threatening. So you didn't see him much, but you knew he was threatening. This one, this I think Lupat worked better when doing even the like because they were a mob, so the main boss didn't feel like he needed to be that
Right.
threatening.
Dogranio was retiring. He was looking for his replacement. He was just watching the peons dance for him.
Also, that's who I meant.
Oh.
I meant Bill Granio.
No, Don Armuggy was the Q Ranger villain.
Yeah, my brain stopped at the DON.
Yeah, because Don, Mafia.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I meant. Is like we had very few moments of him showing up and acting like a badass and driving that fear of him
Yeah, no,
home.
but yeah, no, Dogranio just wanted to retire, so he was just looking for his replacement, which is why he never did anything because I'm not supposed to. I can't do anything. I can't do the work for them. This is
Right.
their job. They need
But
to be able to do this without me.
but the show still found a way for him to show off his power, instill fear into the good guys, which they did that when he showed off his power for blowing up the one guy for wasting his time. But like even just like having the underlings generally show reverence to him. For the most part, there were a handful who didn't, but almost it held that power structure. Whereas with Bakwas, it just seems like, oh, you're the biggest guy here,
Like,
physically.
but even Don Armage from Key Ranger is a good comparison because you don't see him do anything. But the good thing is that you see his influence everywhere. No matter
Right,
what planet they went to, you could see the impact that he had there.
right. And the closest we get to Bakawas's impact is watching bad guys bounce up and down, and idiots run through
Like,
town and
the
fall for the dumbest traps.
other villain I would compare him to is the main villain from Shinkenger, who literally just sat around drinking alcohol, complaining that nothing was going his way. He didn't even get involved in the monster process at all. It was literally like the squid guy doing all the work.
I mean, in defense of him, I mean, if you got underlings, that's what they're for. And two, a lot of what his influence would have been required the Red River, or whatever the hell that thing was called.
Right, the river. That gave him a reason of this is why he can't do anything. So all he really can do is sit around and drink.
Bitch.
But he didn't even get involved in the monster selection process. He just left it all entirely to me. He didn't even talk about what the plan was.
like there were a handful of times where he did get involved, but it was more in the aspect of
Oh,
Squid Dude was summoning a monster and somebody else showed up instead and started throwing a hissy fit, and he went, "Okay, go, show me what you got."
go get yourself killed. As just get out of my sight.
Like, yeah, but that was about it. It's like for me right now, when it comes to Zenkaiger, I feel the only reason why Bakuwas isn't getting involved is because he is a fucking wall.
Which is a good
Like that's it.
excuse, but like
But
ah,
it's not.
if he's supposed to be the leader of an entire empire, I feel like you do more than bitch that his minions' plans are stupid.
I want to give him a pass for being a wall, but I can't considering the fact that I'm sorry, if an amoeba can do it, so can a wall.
Uh,
One thing I think that this could have been fixed if, like, if when he says this minions plans are stupid, he should have, like, actually give them a better plan.
right, like he's literally not coming up with anything better. He's
No,
not
like
like suggesting anything.
the closest we got to that was Geach.
And Geej actually came up with good ideas. I don't remember what
and,
they
and
were, but
but then he literally just quit helping.
because he was just doing his own little trial run, like he doesn't actually want to do this.
He has other plans.
If I think I think I'll continue Zenkai should be like maybe one time next week, I guess. But at least I hope around the end arc, at least someone else actually is becomes the bad guy instead of, like,
Like he's only done like a few things here and there, but Geach has set himself up to be like the true antagonist. Like that time that like oh he sent out the monster and then like learning Stacy's secrets but going like oh don't worry I won't tell anyone. Or even when Kaito invaded Toji Tento and Geach helped him escape.
He went literally, "Hey, dude, there's the exit. Have fun."
That just those are the only three things he's done in this show besides keep Bakuwas calm. But like it set him up to be like the true villain here.
Right. Yeah, because the only other things he's done is keep him calm and intentionally, sick him on the other two. Because he's done that. But like that's it. So it's like he's in a perfect place to do that whole I'm really running the show. And honestly, would I want it. And I have
hope
and
that's okay.
unfortunately this is Sentai, so I know I'm not gonna get what I want. Writer is the show where I get the scripts and agree with it, and Sentai is the one where I just keep getting my heart kicked in the dick.
Yeah, it's kind of, at least Ryder has been, at this time Ryder has been doing really well with the rewrite from the get go.
Um, but real quick, let's wrap up the podcast, and we can continue this off the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
All right.
Thank you all for listening. We will be back next week since there will actually be an episode next week.
If I catch up, I'll screw up probably.